So I find myself sitting here at a barbecue, my brother's barbecue, and it dawns on me, none of the videos were uploaded properly from China. They weren't on YouTube. I can't send out an email about them. Curtis is back home now in Ontario. He's flying to Prince Edward Island. Hi, Isla. Cool. He's flying to Prince Edward Island tomorrow, so we can get videos uploaded. But you didn't see last week's. Not many things have changed over the last week as far as the babies that aren't racing or the horses that aren't racing. So I took my boarding pass. I wrote on the back of it. I wrote down things I want to talk about that happened over the last week. Obviously, the big news from that landed quickly in the stable was the purchase and the race of Lincoln James. Lincoln James was so I'll tell you how the time frame started out. Monday morning I woke up and I realized that all our best horses raced on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Every year, obviously, you guys know I'm from Prince Edward Island, I assume. And the big race in Prince Edward Island is the Gold Cup and Saucer. I usually try to get to Prince Edward Island every year, but even when I was a driver full-time, it was like 3 or 4 days max. And when we had a lot of horses racing, you know, maybe 1 or 2 days. And the odd year I missed, I couldn't come at all. This, as busy as I am in my life right now, this was the first time ever that I could get to PEI for 6 days, and it didn't dawn on me until about Friday afternoon. I said to Amy, I said, geez, you know, all our best horses are in Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I said, we might be able to go to the Gold Cup the old home week all week. So we looked at the calendar, sure enough, I could. So Monday morning I woke up, we booked our tickets on Sunday. Sunday morning I woke up, Monday morning I woke up, and I called Mark Weaver, Ron Burke's biggest owner, and I said, hey, what are you guys bringing to the Gold Cup? You know, thinking I might get a drive in the Gold Cup. He said, we're not bringing anything this year. I said, you got anything to...
I need to use the bathroom.
Oh, he can show you where to go. So I said, do you have any horses to sell? He said, yeah, I do. So he sent me a list of horses and how much he wanted for them, and I didn't even get a chance to send it out to everybody in the group. I sent it out to maybe 5-6 people, thinking that if I could get 40 or 50% of this horse sold, I could sell maybe 20 or 30 shares pretty easily amongst our group, our main group of people. And then what I wanted to do was leave available 15 or 20 shares for people in Prince Edward Island to potentially, you know, you can only imagine living in PEI, having all these expensive horses come down here. You never really get a chance to have a legitimate shot at owning a horse unless you have a lot of money, which, you know, this is an island. I mean, obviously it's a tourist place now, but not a lot of people have that kind of money. So I made it clear that I wanted to sell half the horse, 30% to TheStable.ca, all our other clients, and then in turn keep 15 or 20% to sell to people. Have a promotion down here to sell 15 or 20% after he raced in the elimination, which I thought was pretty fair. Well, the first 5 or 6 people I talked to bought the whole horse up. They wanted all the shares. So it put me in a tough spot, right? I sold them. With one caveat, I kept 15% to sell to people in PEI, which made me feel a little bad because all of our clients want a good horse too, and it just worked out. Like, this horse was literally, the opportunity arose on Monday morning. By 10:30, 11 o'clock Monday morning, the horse was all sold. Well within 2-3 hours, he went from me not ever hearing this horse in my life to he's ours, and he's on his way to Ontario. So we brought the horse to PEI, raced him. He raced absolutely fantastic for being off 9 days, being in a trailer the better part of 3, you know, finishing second in 1:51 and 2 on a half-mile track first over. Just an incredible mile, and just a really, really nice horse. Then the draw came, post position draw last night. 8 hole on a half-mile track's tough. 8 hole in Prince Edward Island in the Gold Cup is a historical graveyard. I doubt anybody has ever won from post 8. My brother won from post 7 just because much of the race was a calamity. And that's what you need. You need chaos. You know, we have the favorite, the horse to beat in the entire field, drew the rail, which is tough in its own right. We got some other tough horses in there that are levers. There's going to be a lot of speed. And worse than anything, there's going to be a lot of rain by the looks of it on Saturday night. So it's going to be a bit of a circus, I would suggest. Enough to maybe suck the life out of the one and you know, set the race up for an outside horse to win. I don't know. I have no idea. But one thing's for certain, we now have a very, very good horse in our midst. A talented horse, of course, it's clearly got some real potential and real ability. The horses we're looking for at TheStable.ca, and we're lucky to have them. So part of me wants to apologize because our greater clientele didn't get an opportunity to get in on this horse, but I just didn't foresee those first few clients buying all the horse up. I didn't see that happening. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, so we're racing Saturday night. We have the newest addition to TheStable.ca. Our newest 15 clients from Prince Edward Island or the Maritimes will be involved in our newest edition of TheStable.ca, which is Lincoln James from Post 8, Saturday night in Prince Edward Island in the Gold Cup and Saucer race. It's very near and dear to my heart. I was beat a nose here 3 years ago. It was a heartbreaker. Now I got the eight hole with Lincoln James. So tough sledding, but at the same time, that's racing. What are you going to do? So we're going to run through a list of 10 horses I want to update you on, things that happened this week, races that went on. Then another, the horses, we have 7, 8, 9, maybe 8 or 9 that raced. Now again, the last few weeks I've asked for your patience because I usually have my list written out, and it's an extensive list, things I want to talk about. Here's all the horses, here's all the stables. I left that in Columbus. Now I have it. The race secretary picked it up for me. I left it in the driver's room in Columbus, shockingly enough. So I made another list. I left that one in PEI, or in Ontario. So I'm in PEI with a boarding pass with some names on the back of it. So when I look at it, the stables haven't changed much. Harry and Ricky, Kevin, and Jason. We had some horses race last week, and you guys saw that. Had some bad luck with See You in Tuscany. He made a break. Had a bad race, her only bad race ever with Twinsburg. She's going to be racing in Kentucky on Saturday evening when I'm racing in the Gold Cup. So those two horses had some bad luck in the mud in Scioto last week. White Tiger, for those of you watching the race on what day was it? Saturday from Pennsylvania, a couple people said, geez, you missed the gate with him. I didn't miss the gate with him. I was going to leave with the horse, and I had him coming up to the gate when it was going slow, and he put a couple of steps in like he was going to make a break. And usually when White Tiger gets a little flustered like that, it takes him a little bit to regain his composure. If you remember back in the winter when he was training, if he made a break, he just ran. You know, he had difficulty just relaxing, catching his gait again and moving forward. So when he's out of gear and almost off stride, I really just have to wait. You know, we all remember the number one rule in driving trotters. It's keep them trotting. So yes, he missed the gate, but I was in position going up to the gate exactly where I wanted to be. I was well aware that Andy Miller's horse, Ava, I was well aware that Andy Miller's horse was likely going to end up on the front end, and I wanted to be close to him. But it just didn't work out that way. I ended up going a big third quarter, and White Tiger fizzled out a bit in the lane, which is a little odd for him. But he was coming back in 6 days from the Hambletonian, which was really hard on him. So not a big shocker, I suppose. He finished third, got some points. That was the other big thing, is we needed the points because we skipped the second leg of the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes to go to the Houghton. So we missed the second leg, finished third in the third leg. We're sitting 8th right now in points. And this Sunday at the Poconos, one day after the Gold Cup and Saucer, White Tiger will make his last appearance in the Pennsylvania Sires before the final for 250 or 60,000. Very important that we get points with this horse on Sunday night. Driving in 3 spots ahead of him on the Pennsylvania Sires quietly was Stonebridge Simba. I thought I won the race the other day. I actually headed back to the winner's circle, ended up second with Stonebridge Simba. Raced very, very good. Still on the right line a little bit. I talked to Andrew about it. He's addressing it on his end, trying to get him fixed up and figured out what went on, what is going on with Simba while he's on that line. This isn't a thing that happened when he went to Pennsylvania. He had this going on long before that. He had a quarter crack in his right hind foot. I'm not so sure that there's still not something in there bothering him. Think of it like a sliver in your finger and how annoying it can be, and then the horses get on the line a little bit. So Stonebridge Simba looks like he's going to make it into the final with any sort of decent performance this Sunday also. Been a very, very good year for him. Horse that's raced huge the last 2 weeks, Maintenance Man. I was walking by last night, so obviously we're drinking and watching the races. And I knew we had horses racing, but it kind of slipped my mind. I knew that Bay Jewel, filly that I owned a big chunk of, was racing later on in Indiana. I knew that Boston Glide was racing because some of the clients had texted me and asked me how his week was. And I forgot about Mo Better, a horse I own a big chunk of, and Maintenance Man was racing. So I'm walking by the window and I see the Georgian Downs official prices flash up. And I look, does that say Maintenance Man? I said, I'm looking through the window. Sure enough, Maintenance Man. So I went in and watched the replay. Race great. Obviously, he was in a little bit tougher than he was in the overnight the week before. But he said, he didn't draw away. Well, they went in 53, and there was other horses coming to him. He raced well. Now we have a decision to make. The next grassroots is in Hanover. I have no interest in taking him to Hanover. The one after that is in Mohawk. He's sitting 9th right now in the gold standings. Gold's tough this year, tough. And then we have the Nassau coming up. So we're in a position where we have a good horse, but a lot of people have a lot of good horses also in Ontario right now. So it's not going to get any easier. The heavy lifting is just about to start for Maintenance Man. He looks like he's up to the challenge with 2 impressive wins in 153-1 and 153-4 on Georgian Downs 5/8 mile track. Mo Better, he got away 14 lengths back out of the 7-hole. Certainly not Brett's fault, just the way the race shook down. They went in 52, an incredibly fast mile. They were at the half in 54, and he's not the type of horse to chase and chase and chase and chase. What he likes is a breather where he can grind up on somebody's helmet in front of him and braven up, and then he'll explode forward. That slow trickle where they just go faster and faster and faster, it kind of sucks the life out of him. He's a smaller horse. He's not built for that type of racing. And then he gets blind switched a little bit in the last turn. He was kind of third over, and somebody wheeled out around him, and he's kind of pinned in, and the race just didn't go his way, and no big deal. He'll bounce back. He's a nice colt, and he'll bounce back from that mile for sure. He's sitting in the grassroots actually 8th, so it looks like Mo Better is going to get into the grassroots finals. Maintenance Man sitting 17th because he only raced in 1 and he won, but there's only 2 left. 1 at Mohawk, 1 at Hanover, 2 golds left, 2 Grand Circuit races, some other things. We have a decision to make, and for me, I can make a very good argument. I'll make a very good argument for either grassroots or gold. So I guess we're going to have a discussion amongst the owners. We've had one over the last 2 days, and we're going to continue to talk about that. I'm thinking maybe stay away from Hanover, which means that we probably look at the golds and the Nassau, and I think the Champlain's the other one. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's a Champlain. 2 big Grand Circuit events. He's going to have to pace 51 at Mohawk. I think, logically speaking, if he can pace in 53 in Georgian, one would think 51 at Mohawk is not that unattainable. So I'm leaning towards Maintenance Man being the horse we hope he is. Sure, we can take the easy road, go a couple of grassroots, hope to get in the final and see what's what. That's not outside the realm of possibility also. I would like to stay away from Hanover, though. I didn't want to race him in the Battle of Waterloo and Grand River. I certainly don't want to go to Hanover. So that's Maintenance Man and Mo Better. Bay Jewel finished 3rd out of the 9-hole. Now there was 2 scratch, so I guess 2-hole or 7-hole. Sorry, in Hoosier Park. Got away at the back, 3rd over, closing hard on the end of it. Finished 3rd. Raced really well. Very happy with what I saw there. I haven't talked to Mr. Bates after the race, but I assume he was pretty happy with her also. Final answer. Race huge last week, winning the grassroots division, the Stallion Series grouping, out the whole way. I just kind of him and Casanova's Jewel. I'm reading the texts from our clients. So those of you who may not know, Here's some incoming news that you won't see for 2 days. It's old news to you now. It's brand new news. Ivanka just won a stake race in Illinois in 201 and 3, and Angie and Rob have been working incredibly hard on this filly to keep her sound. We were just going to turn her out. She had an issue with her left front leg, and they worked on her. She just won in 201 and 3, so another stakes winner for TheStable.ca. Final Answer raced huge. I just wanted to keep him safe. Him and Casanova's Jewel, as I said before, in the same boat, both coming off multiple breaks, both not at the top of the game as far as confidence-wise. Final Answer, I just floated off the gate, sat 7th on the outside, caught cover. Down the lane, he mowed them down and looked good doing it. So Final Answer took a new lifetime mark of 159 in the mud last Friday? Last Friday or Saturday at the Meadows, I believe. Oh no, I'm wrong. It was Wednesday. It was Wednesday afternoon. Danny and I drove over. So Final Answer won in the mud at 159. Time El Houdini and Time El Tulo both a little bit flat. If you watched the other day, if you watched closely, they just looked tired halfway down the lane, and they were. It was the end of that nasty bug that we had run through the barn that was literally 21 days to get the horses over it, and that's after running hundreds of dollars worth of antibiotics through them trying to get this cleaned up. I sent an email out after the race. I guess I can talk about both of them the same because they're in the same boat. I had sent an email out after their races and said, maybe turn them out for 7 days and some green grass will get the rest of that stuff out of them. Then I talked to Jody Jameson about this gentleman that had a rig set up where it was a saltwater spa almost for the horses. They enclose the horses for 20 minutes, and it's a hot steam, saltwater steam, I guess, that comes out. And he swore by it. He said that his good pace and cold after the North American Cup came down with the same thing. It appeared that our horses did. Really struggled for 20 days, 21 days. And he put them in the spa, and the mucus just poured out of them. And sure enough, I contacted the gentleman. He came down to the barn, put the horses in. First day it poured out, second day it poured out, and now they're in the third day. They're doing the third day of it. If we turn them out in the field for a couple of days, fine, but I want to scope them after maybe we train them a little bit and see if it did in fact clean them up. Being from an island where we have salt water everywhere, I know that the salt water absolutely cleans your sinuses up, and very curious. I've never heard of this before I talked to Jody. This gentleman, I guess, just started coming around with this mobile spa, if you will. So we put the Houdini and Tulo and 4 other horses in it, and I'm very curious to see how this works out. So Time El Houdini and Tulo both raced well, considering they were on fumes with the 16th of a mile to go. They were both on empty, and Tulo ended up coasting by the horse in front of him, and Houdini was in a little tougher and just couldn't catch up. He was 6th, beat maybe, 4 or 5 lengths, raced very, very good, especially considering what his airway looked like. And hopefully this treatment that we put them through will help. By all accounts, it appears it did. By the second day, less mucus came out. I'm very curious to hear a report from Ricky and Harry about how they look today coming out of the spa, but hopefully that will do the trick. And for a lot of people, the biggest news of all comes in at number 10, and that's Arvika. Arvika made her qualifying debut, and a lot of people said, she went 59 last quarter in 30 seconds. Yeah, 3 days before that, I schooled her in 58. 4 days, 3.5 days before that. So I wanted to get her qualified before I went to Prince Edward Island. She might have been a little tired finishing up her mile in Ontario, but had every right to be. And a lot to learn, a lot of muscle to pack on, a lot of stakes coming up. I wish we had 2 more weeks to get her in shape. By the end of the month now, she get 2 weeks from right now, I think, before we technically have the Champlain. Do we want to put her in there? Do we want to focus on getting her ready properly? And she still has some stuff in Lexington. Make no mistake, we still have her paid into the... Whoa! That was bad. Still have her paid into the Breeders' Crown also. So, Arvika qualified, ready to go, ready to dance, and we will see... I had this all set up on a chair. Looks like we're having a mishap. We will see how Arvika... There. Well, kind of. We will see how Arvika makes out in the coming weeks, but I suspect she'll do pretty good. Showed a lot of pop if you watch the first quarter. She really wanted to get at it. She wasn't hot. I just wanted to go maybe 29, half and a minute and a piece. I get over the half 59. I let her dance around the last turn. She trotted 29 apiece down the backstretch, and then I just let her coast under the wire, but was very, very sharp and attentive and happy to do her work. Those are the things we want to see, attitude especially. So we have a sharp, smart filly on the top of her game right now. She's only going to get better. So hopefully we'll take the next 2 months to turn Arvika into the horse we really want her to be. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but I have a sneaky suspicion it might. So those are the 10 that I want to talk about that raced. I'll run through the other horses, just the overnight horses that raced, and give you a little take on what I saw and what I thought. Sally DeVee raced well the other day, got locked in, finished third. I believe she paced 56 in a bit. Kevin has her looking really, really good. I drove her 2 weeks ago. She paced 154 in a piece. I think she's got a pretty bright future, this filly, and she's getting sounder, which we hoped she would. We hope she wouldn't, and it appears she is. So Sally DeVee looking good right now. Book the Bet was in that race, had the outside post. Scott Young apparently didn't read the program and didn't realize that she's never raced good from off the pace in her life. I would have liked to see him get away 4th or 5th with her, or knowing Sally DeVee, our other horse, was going to be blasting out of there to the front, leaving may not have been a bad option. So he got away last with her, ended up in the mix and then a charging 4th with Book the Bet, but she fits very solidly in that class. I won that class with Book the Bet in 155 and 2 the week before and looked very good. Art Seeker raced very well 2 starts ago, and then last week Scott Coulter came first over with him. I wouldn't say it's his forte to come first over. He was 5th, baby beat 2 lengths, 3 lengths, so I would say he raced decent. I'd like to see him up front near the leader in the 2-hole. Not much for first over, but not the end of the world. Happy Holidays, honestly, to be truthful, continues to slide a little bit. I looked last night, I was shocked. This filly made $67,000 in 2017. She's in for a whopping $4,000 this year. Now, granted, she didn't start till the start of the summer, but it is what it is. You know, these horses are hot and cold from time, and it doesn't appear that she's hit her best stride. She's struggling to find her best stride, so when I get back, we're going to maybe try and make a few little changes and see if we can't get her underway. If not, we may have to find a claimer for Happy Holidays. I mean, keep in mind, we bought her out of the condition claiming ranks last year, a year and a half ago. To find the claimer with her again would not be the end of the world for Happy Holidays, I don't believe. Pay the Line Blue Chip. Brett ran in and hooked a wheel the other day and made a break. I see she got an interference break. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it's pretty easy to get angry as an owner when a mistake's made on the track, but I've been a driver my whole life and I've made plenty of mistakes, so we'll give Brett a pass. We'll give him a pass with Pay the Line Blue Chip last week. Screaming Hawk was one of the biggest news items of the week. My emails blew up after the race with our clients saying, hey, I was there, Screaming Hawk looked lame right front. Hey, I talked to Scott Ray after. Screaming Hawk was off left hind and right front apparently by Scott Ray. I saw the horse race, he was lame, and we addressed it. You know, I went and made a veterinarian appointment for him the next day, talked to Harry after the race. Harry said, listen, the horse had a good week. I didn't see any lameness right front or left hind. We had him up to the clinic. Left hind stifle, had a little filling. The veterinarian injected that. I would suggest maybe that left stifle was compensating for the right front, and the vet said she couldn't find anything on an x-ray anywhere in his right front. Had some pulse in his feet. Looks like he had a pus pocket, an abscess in his right front foot. It would be odd that you wouldn't see that throughout the week, but who's to say when it started bothering him? If it started bothering him the day before the race under light jog, you wouldn't see that, and then on the day of the race you would when you warmed him up. So all I can say is what isn't there is no cracks or anomalies of any kind the veterinarian could see. So we switched his footwear up front to accommodate any sort of sore feet that are bothering him, and we injected that left stifle. So Screaming Hawk will likely qualify or school this Friday to make sure he's okay. Boston Glide. Boston Glide's a little bit of a tricky horse. He finished 2nd and 3rd his last 2. Nothing to complain about. I wish Brett had maybe got him moving earlier last night. He's not the type of horse to get locked in and then sprint on the end of the mile. Kind of got to edge him out, and he had an opportunity. Ava! He had an opportunity to get him out in the last turn, and he chose to stay in. And you know, if you're a driver, you don't want to drive the horses in an aggressive manner that'll draw attention to yourself and make you look like you made a mistake. If he erred on the side of caution with Boston Glide, I suppose that's acceptable. I will not next time. So hopefully I'll be driving Boston Glide next time. We can get him moving early, get him up and get him moving. Once in a while I like to throw him in a Mohawk to stretch those legs out. Sounds like might be one of those times coming up. Maybe this Thursday we'll put him in the non-winners of 2 or 20 at Mohawk. Autumn Wings, last piece of, again, if I missed your horse or missed it, I apologize. I do only have the boarding pass this week, not the sheet of paper or my book. So Autumn Wings, a lot of people asked, how was she? Apparently she schooled in 2 minutes, looked good doing it. I will put her into qualify, or ask Ricky to put her into qualify next Friday, and I'll go with her. I'd like to see her go a mile 57 and do it the right way. Again, this is a filly with tons of ability, tons of speed. We don't want her confidence level getting down, and if she isn't completely mature and ready to go right now, we simply won't. We'll just put her away for the year. I think this is a good filly with a bright future. You know, any horse that likes their work, is fast, durable, and has speed and ability, you may want to do everything you can to make sure that horse matures at a proper rate. So for me, for Ava making noise, and Ollie in the pool, and all these kids running around, and the wonderful food here in Prince Edward Island, I am having a great working vacation. I'll be back, let me see, so this week, Sunday I go to the Poconos, Monday I'm in the Poconos, Tuesday I have to qualify some horses in Scioto, and then Wednesday up to the Meadows, and then from the Meadows I would assume go home. We have Ontario, qualify on Friday, and then the end of the stake year. It won't be too long. It won't be too long until our trip to New Zealand comes up, and then right after that, we'll be sending everybody out information packages. Obviously, we want to gauge everybody's support at the sales this fall. If people are interested in investing and people are interested how they'd like to purchase their horses, we are working diligently to get the app set up so that we can have real-time purchases on your app. You can look at the Stable app, and as we're buying the horses, the ability to purchase the horses are there. I'll obviously be building lists also as we take a look at some horses. I've looked at the Ohio sale, I've looked at the Goshen sale, have some horses picked out, 3 or 4 out of the Ohio sale so far at the end of the month in 2 weeks' time. And then I have 3 or 4, 7 I'm interested in so far at Goshen. I'm going to have a serious look at those 7 in Goshen also. So for me, for my wife, for the kids, for everybody in PEI, thank you very much. Hopefully the rest of the videos you had from last week are informative. If you have any questions, you know my phone number, 519-400-4263. My email is Anthony@TheStable.ca. You can get a hold of me on Twitter and Facebook. If you need to get a hold of me, you should be able to. So, any questions at all, please don't hesitate to send them along. Otherwise, I'm signing off from Prince Edward Island. Beautiful sunny day.